Are you guys ready to hear about the McMansion update and finale about it? Stay tuned. Hi guys, so I had asked you guys on my community post what you guys wanted to see because I'm kind of in the beginning stages of trying to get creative and figure out ideas. And obviously it's January, it's cold out, everybody's bundled up. There's not much going on in the beauty world, so I'm trying to figure it out. So a lot of you guys want my get ready with me's, which I love to do for you guys, and some vlogging, which lifestyle stuff. I am excited for that, you guys. This year I actually want to go thrifting because I need new pieces, and obviously as a kid we went thrifting not for fun but because of necessity. So I have a little bit of an idea of how to do it, and I haven't done it in a long time. The last times I did it was when my kids were really tiny and I went thrifting for them, not necessarily for me, because I lived in sweatpants and t-shirts for like a good 6 years of my life. So I actually want to go back. So we will be doing that too. So I have other ideas. If you guys have any suggestions, leave them down in the comment section. You guys have been amazing with it, but I know a lot of you guys wanted to hear about the McMansion situation, so that's what we're gonna do. Also, a side note, the stand that was supposed to be for my get ready with me's ring light stuff situation is supposed to arrive today, has yet to arrive, and I can't wait any longer. So this is why my lighting is still a little bit off. I don't know if you guys like this lighting or not. I keep that door open over here because it brings complete natural light in here, so that's why you can see more light in the back. But I hope you guys are okay with it for now. It is coming, I promise. It's just taking a hot minute to get to my house. And then I am saving up for other lighting for that area over there. So that way it's a little bit more, not as congested as it once was. So we are here. We're going to do it. I put on some lip gloss because my lips are so dry. It's so cold out. One last thing before we get into it. Too Faced did send me 2 packages of new stuff. This is their Lip Injection Extreme Plumping Clicks. I'm a little bit nervous of it because of the whole plumping situation, but they did send me 3 colors, and as you guys can see, this lavender shade right here is what I want to try today because I feel like that could be a really nice mixing shade to cool down some warmer tone colors. And then the other one that they sent me were their Pillow Balm lip glosses. These are the shades that they sent over to me. They came out with new colors in it. So here are the new shades of it. They're supposed to be like an infused oil, which I'm excited about. You guys know I love lip oil, so this is the perfect time of year to do it. But I don't want to try these on because I really want to try these, and these are the shades that they come in. So they have new shades as well, and they all smell like strawberries, it seems. So sheer to medium buildable 8-hour hydration. So we're going to try one of these today on our lips with the look that we're going to come up with as well. So just wanted to share that with you guys. There is no link, affiliate, mandatory thing. I just like to share what I get in PR because 1, you guys like to see it. 2, I'm very appreciative of anything I get in PR. So if I can share it with you guys, I will, but there's obviously no pressure. Pull out what you got, but I don't actually own any clicky pens like this. And the lip oils, I am a fan. Total fan of them all. All right, so anything I put on my face will be down in the description box as usual. So you guys aren't here for the makeup, you're here for you are here for the story time. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to the McMansion, I would suggest look up click on the video that I am linking, so then that way you guys can get caught up before you watch this one. Obviously come back to hear the ending of it. With that said, I will do a disclaimer just because I don't want people to think like I am insensitive, I am being rude, or how dare I have no compassion for others. What happened with that house? How do I put this? I'm trying to put it in a nice way because I am 100% all for it, but there's a place for these things, and it shouldn't be in the middle of a residential neighborhood with over 20 kids in it. And that's how I'm going to start this all out. All right, so we're going to use this palette because I haven't used it in a hot minute. So anyway, so where we left off was the McMansion. It's a over 6,000 square foot home that we have in our neighborhood, right smack in the middle of our neighborhood. And the individuals that were living there were basically got kicked out from other family members. So it was up for sale. And a relatively, I would say, August, it went up for sale. At the end of August, it went up for sale. By September, there was already a bid. And well, there's quite a few of people interested in the house because for what you were getting, it was pretty cheap. And the house was going for close to $700,000. So for 6,000 square feet, you were getting a bargain because it has an in-ground pool, it has over an acre, all this stuff, you know, beautiful in-law suite with it. It was really nice, but it needed a good $200,000 worth of work. So it had to be somebody who was willing to put in the time, effort, and energy into this house. Just like for us with this home, we had to put in quite a bit of money to make it what it was because it was so run down. So anyway, so we heard that there was a bid. So we were all excited about it. And somehow, I don't know the details, but I get a phone call from one of my neighbors. It just so happened that I will never forget this day because it was the first week of October. And my daughter, my oldest, had off from school. The other two did not. So I purposely took that day off. Like I didn't purposely work that day because I figured her and I can have a day together. Since she was off from school, I could like spend the day with her, just hang out. So I took her out. We went out book shopping because she loves books. So we went out book shopping. I took her out for lunch. And then since it was not a warm day in October, that specific day, I told her, I said, all right, well, let's go home and catch up on a movie or something, you and I, before your brother and sister come home and I have to cook dinner and stuff. So we were in the middle of watching a movie. We were in my bedroom watching a movie and I get a text from one of my neighbors. And she texts me and says, have you heard the update on the house? And I'm like, no, I'm assuming. She goes, it's bad. And I'm like, okay, well, how bad can this be, right? Never in a million years did I think that this was going to be something that would happen in our neighborhood. So she calls me and she's like, I just got the news that somebody put a bid in and they accepted the bid and it's not what you think. And I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking like, is it, I don't know, somebody who's in need of things? Like what could it possibly be? Come to find out, and I'm not going to say any names for legal reasons. God forbid they come back, they see this video, whatever the case may be. There was a company, this is not a corporation that's nationwide. This is more of a local kind of thing, like to our state, I would say. I really didn't look too much into it as far as all the details. But we found out that a company that has halfway houses wanted to buy that house to house people who were detoxing from things. And we were all panicking because typically with these kind of things, there's rules and regulations. Well, of course, we live in a state where everything's free. Everyone gets whatever they want. So in our state, there is no law. There is no rule that says you can't have these kind of homes anywhere. We live about 5 minutes away from 2 different schools, a preschool as well, and that did not deter them from continuing on with this situation. And we were like, well, what is going on? How is this going to play out? One of our neighbor's daughters works for a company like this. So she was like, oh, they don't drive. They have somebody taking care of them. So we were like, okay, it's starting to feel better. So she's trying to like educate us on it and figure out like what exactly this is going to entail for our neighborhood. Because not only were we thinking of security reasons, we were also thinking our value to our homes because we chose these homes, but we were not given a choice or a say if they can come into our neighborhood or not, because now who's going to buy a house in our neighborhood knowing that there is a halfway house in the middle, legit smack dab in the middle of our neighborhood? Right? So we were all freaking out trying to figure this out. Like, what is going on? What are the legal things, ramifications of it? What could possibly happen? Is there a way we can bring this up to our town and figure it out? If we could find them a new place where they're more like separated. We live in an area where a lot of people can buy a home with a lot of land. So we were shocked that they chose to pick a residential neighborhood instead of picking a home with a few acres, because there's quite a few of them out there. So we were all trying to get all of our ducks lined up. So when we found this out, we were all making phone calls, figuring out. So one of our neighbors finds the number of the CEO of this company. And she was like, well, let me call to see if we can maybe appeal to their, compassion and let them know, tell them our story about our neighborhood, how, we all literally busted our rear ends to buy these homes. And now you coming in here, like what's the success rate of your company, and what exactly does it entail? Do they get background checks? All these things, right? So one of our neighbors did it. And can I tell you that the CEO of this company, this individual could care less, basically told my neighbor that we should all feel lucky that we own homes because these people do not. She blatantly said, our neighbor told us that this CEO blatantly told her, oh, well, I don't care. I'm going through with it. You guys figure it out. That's your problem, not my problem. I'm getting a good deal in this house for what it is, so I don't really care about you guys. So that pissed us off. That pissed us off because there was no middle ground, no compassion, no understanding. So we were kind of pissed. And the fact that one of our neighbors already had to deal with this company, they left a town to come live out in the woods for this specific company that was doing it in another town. And then we find out that they moved here and now they're following them. So she was crying, she was upset, and blatantly so, because she already had to deal with this company as it was. At this point, all of us are calling, well, those that have connections were calling either people in power, lawyers, trying to figure out if there was a legal way we can try to do it, getting us all together. We were trying to find somebody who can maybe outbid the person. It was like all hands on deck. My text messages were going crazy one day at work. Within a 2-hour span, I had over 60 text messages from everyone looking up things, calling people up, trying to figure it out. We got more information on this company, and this company has other houses like this, and there were reviews that were so bad. We found nothing positive about it. Come to find out that they were allowed to drive. They were planning on having 10 cars in this house, and this driveway can only hold 4 cars. So we were like, so where are these people going to park? This company allowed these individuals to come and go as they pleased. There was no rules. I guess they were going to call, I forget what they called it, or you had a house mom, I guess. This was a person who was only 6 months clean that was watching other people. So how is this working? There was really no counseling on the premise. Their curfew, I believe during the weekdays was 11, and on the weekends 1 a.m. I'm like, this is not what we were expecting. And they could drive, come and go, and if they chose to leave the program, they could leave at any time. So we were like, okay, so if they choose to leave, they can literally walk in my backyard, try to steal. Mind you, the reason why I was more panicked is because when we bought this house, within a year, we've gone through this as a family. We've had people gone through this, so we know. But they've gone through more of a rigorous program, not such a free living, do as you please kind of thing. So when we had somebody working on our house, this individual brought somebody who went through this program. I kid you not, within a week later, we installed cameras into our home. This individual was in our house with their individual that was fixing doors, putting in piping, all that kind of stuff. And about a week later, this individual we saw in our cameras, we had left on a small vacation with the family. We saw in the camera this individual trying to break into our house. And if it wasn't because we installed cameras in our house, we would have never known. So we got on the camera and we're like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, he made up the story that he wanted to paint our house. And we were like, well, we're not around. We'll call you when we come back. Well, we contacted the individual that brought this guy in, and he told us his story about how he basically was stealing, and he apologized for bringing him into our home, and we never saw the guy again. So we've already had an experience like this. So this is where our brains were going. So Mr. Man and I were thinking we were already getting quotes for a fence. We were already thinking about getting a dog for protection reasons. I didn't feel comfortable anymore leaving my oldest, who is a teenager and legally can stay home with her siblings, be home, because you never know what could happen. Somebody leaving this house, not following the rules and getting into trouble. So we were thinking like the worst, right? Because this particular company was not like the other ones that we have heard of. So we are freaking out. I'm trying to stay calm because, what can I do? We love our home. We don't want to move. We plan on literally dying in this house. Like, we didn't want to leave. And we're like, so one of our neighbors was already contacting a realtor to try to sell their house. Another one was figuring out like, what am I going to do? So it was like a panic. And I think what pissed us off the most was the fact that this CEO, before closing, I think they were like 2 to 3 weeks out of closing to the house. They had no contingencies. They didn't care. They were going to fix stuff in the house. They were going to do all they could to, do this. What got us mad was the fact that they sent out a representative, and this house mom, I guess you want to call her, she looked no older than maybe 21. She told us that she was like clean for about, I think she told us 8 months, and she was going to be the house mom and taking care. I mean, like, she was thinner than me, no taller than me, and she looked like my daughter. Like, she had no experience in life. And I was like, how are you going to handle 10 plus individuals in this house? We didn't know if it was going to be males, females. Was it going to be a mixing of both? Like, we had no idea, because this CEO was like so nasty and wouldn't give us information. They did not do background checks on these individuals, so they could be criminals, they could have a record, and they did no background checks. So yeah, their success rate, from what we read, was not high, because you can come and go, leave the program whenever you wanted. And it for those that were successful, it was like far and few between that we found. The representative that went door to door to leave us a goodie package and to welcome themselves into our neighborhood told a different story to each of us. He told us he was an officer before he became their representative. He told our neighbors that he was a recovering individual, but did not say that he was a police officer. The one following that had said that he worked somewhere else, so he did not cater to anybody else. Like, we were kind of pissed because they didn't close on the house yet, and they were already acting like they owned it. So we were even more mad. So we pulled all strings possible. When I tell you pulled all strings, I have never seen a neighborhood come together as much as our neighborhood. And I'm making this very clear. We all said it. We feel like this program is amazing. We feel like this program is worth it, because I myself have seen it work wonderfully for some family members of ours. So I get it. It is a necessity. It is something that is needed in the community. But the way that this particular company went about it, was being sneaky about it, didn't care about us as individuals who are hardworking. Like, nobody gave us our homes. Now, one person in this neighborhood is a trust fund baby. Mind you, the CEO is. So we all worked hard for what we had, and we had no say in allowing it. I did not care if we had friends that could help them in real estate to find them a new place. They did not care about anything. So we were like, all right, well, all hands on deck. We're going to do what we need to do as a community to salvage what we have, because this is our life. This is our home. This is where we want to stay. None of our neighbors want to sell. None of our neighbors want to leave. This is where we want to be. So we pulled all strings we could. Legit. We were told we made so much noise. We as a community in our neighborhood made so much noise that the CEO was called into a meeting, and I don't know what happened behind closed doors, and they pulled their bid away. I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you if maybe they found them a new place, if maybe they made I don't know. I don't know who they went behind closed doors with. I don't know what was said behind closed doors. All I know is that they were called into a meeting, and then we got a phone call. One of the neighbors got a phone call saying they pulled their bid. They're no longer going to buy this home. I don't even know how they pulled the bid, because they literally were about a week away. I don't know what they said. I couldn't tell you. I didn't ask questions. I couldn't tell you, but something was done. You all know how life is and how certain individuals can do things in life. I will tell you that we were all relieved. I was afraid more so for my kids because we live at a dead end street. My kids play outside. All our neighborhood kids, like literally I let them go outside and they play, they ride their bikes around the block. They come, the neighbors know who they are. They play with the neighborhood kids. My kids will go in the backyard of the neighbor. Like, you know, we are a legit tight-knit community. And for somebody to come in with that kind of agenda and then not care, didn't survey, all they thought was, oh wait, this house is a good investment and I don't care who gets hurt in the end. And I lost so much respect for this particular company because they don't consider it. They didn't go and ask, question things. Maybe this isn't a good idea. All they saw was, I'm getting a good deal in this house. Oh, well. And the interesting thing is I had told my neighbor that I felt like this house was going to be bought by an investor and being flipped some way or another. And sure enough, that's exactly what had happened. We even went like one neighbor went as far as calling the realtor and explaining the situation. And the realtor reached out to the seller, and the seller apologized. And he was like, I didn't know this was happening. If I would have known, maybe we could have, you know, done something about it. But you got to be careful with that, with discrimination and stuff. So we don't know if anything could have happened if they would have known. But because the laws you should look up your laws in the state to see if you can do that. In the state of New Jersey, it doesn't matter if you're next to a school. Somebody that lives next to an elementary school can open one of these up and there is no laws. Like, it's common courtesy to not do that, but people do not care when it comes to money. And it's a shame because I saw that. We all saw that. We were relieved when we figured out, and we were all like on edge, pins and needles. So fast forward a few months later, we kept seeing cars coming in and out, and we were all like on edge at this point. We all had PTSD. We were like, okay, who's over there? What are they looking at? What do they look like? We had people from out of state tags come and see the house. Like, we were on edge until we found out that around the holidays, the listing said pending. So we were all like, all right, somebody put a bid in. They accepted the bid. Who could it be? So lucky enough for us, it is a family. It is a husband and wife. They have twin boys, and they have their father, I don't know whose father it is, living in the in-law suite portion. He's a veteran. So they are, as we speak, currently still moving into the house. I see their cars out there moving in. So we are so relieved we got somebody. They homeschool their boys, so we won't see them for school or anything, but I know that they'll probably go out and hang out with our kids. They seem to be really nice. We're one of our neighbors already introduced themselves to them, made sure that they were welcomed and things. So it came out to be a good story in the end. But man, let me tell you, I had to go to the chiropractor after that whole entire, like, it was like a 3-day span of that situation. And when I went to my chiropractor, I didn't tell him anything. Like, obviously I didn't tell anyone anything. And he was like, you're very tight. It feels like you went through a lot of stress lately. And I'm like, oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. I just kept thinking, like, my kids, what am I going to do? Is like somebody going to break into our house in the middle of the night because they relapsed? Like, what could it possibly be? And only thinking this way because this particular company was very lenient about everything. They were allowed to drive. They were allowed, like, typically when these kind of things you are not allowed to drive. You have to take a bus. You have to walk to a transportation system. You're not allowed to drive. And you're going to have 10 plus cars coming in and out whenever they want, constantly in our neighborhood. Like, it was going to affect us in so many ways, whether it was like a birthday party or like you're always looking behind your shoulders. And my house sits with woods in the back and we're completely open. We have no fencing. So I was afraid they were going to cut through our backyard and try to get into the woods and do stuff back there. So these were all the things that were running through our heads. And I'm just like, there's a place for these things. There's so many places that we have that where they could have just bought land and built something. I couldn't comprehend why this particular house and this house needs a lot of work. So it came out to be a happy ending at the end for us as neighbors. Trust me, the CEO did not lose any money, so don't feel bad for them, because I'm sure that they are fine. They won't. And I lost so much respect for this particular company. Like, whenever it so happens that I see their name in anything, I'm just like, no, I will not support them. There's another company that's locally that does it a whole different way. Those are the ones that I would support. This particular one, with the reviews that we read from their other homes and the way that they treated us, it just shows like there was no compassion at all. It was more of like, oh, well, you should feel lucky that you got what you got, because these people don't have what they have. But we all made our choices. We've all made decisions in our lives, and that's where we are. And I'm telling you guys, I'm not trying to be nasty or insensitive at all, but you have to see it through my eyes as a parent and as somebody who this is my home. This is where we are. This is our place. And it's not something where I want it in my backyard. I don't. I picked the place that we live in. We picked where we are for this reason, to have something nice and not have to worry about where my kids are. And I grew up in that environment, and this is why I feel like I'm more about it, because I grew up in it. You guys, I can remember moments with my sister playing and finding needles on the floor and not knowing what they were. Like, I've been through that, so I know. And I don't want that for my kids. I don't. Mr. Man and I busted our rear ends to have what we have, and for somebody to just say, oh, well, deal with it. I'm coming here because this is a good investment for me, not considering the 20 plus kids ranging from like 6 months all the way to like 17 in our neighborhood that could be influenced by it. Somebody could stop them and be like, yo, they can sit outside. That's the other thing. They were allowed to sit outside. So they were a lot more lenient than most ones are, and that's where we were like, oh, we don't like this. We need to have strict rules if you're going to have this in a specific neighborhood, especially with somebody who, a family unit. This isn't like a retirement home or a farm where we're so far apart I don't have to worry about you. You were literally steps away from me. So that's done. We are relieved that we don't have to worry about it. I don't know where and if they purchased another area. They have quite a few areas throughout our state. I believe that they are in our state and a few other states. So we're not just the only ones, but it's like 3 or 4 states. And so we're not the only ones. It's interesting that I saw the realtor, and I told Mr. Man, I'm like, he looks a little bit sneaky. He looks like he's out for himself. Like, there are some realtors that care, and then there's some realtors that just want this. And just by seeing and meeting him, I was like, there's something up with this guy. And I have a feeling that he's the one that reached out to her and said, hey, look, I have this home. Because he was going to get a commission out of it. I have this home. Why don't you come look at it? It might be good for your business. And I think that's how they ended up finding us, because how else was she going to find us? There was no way. Because this isn't the first time this house was up for sale. For all of a sudden randomly find it. And it's more money than it was the first time it was up for sale. So this is why I'm a little bit skittish about the guy. But it worked out in the end for us. We're happy. We have yet to meet the neighbors. We have seen them like unpacking and driving around, but they seem like to be really nice, quiet people. And we hope that they stay a while, because we're a little bit traumatized. Okay, so I finished up my eyes real quick so you guys can see that. Now I am going to, let me get my mirror here. I'm going to use this warm tone lip liner because I want to try that purple lip gloss, clip thing, whatever it's called, lip injection. I'm going to use this one right here, Chanel Adrian. All right, so we're gonna try this one in Sweet Lavender. So here's what it looks like. See? Clip it up. That's what it looks like right there. It does smell like strawberries. Look at that. I feel some tingling. Ooh, yeah. It tingles. I don't know if I'd wear these by themselves. I would have to layer it because I could feel it. Yes. It smells like something from my childhood. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right, you guys, that's all that I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys don't think I'm insensitive or anything. I just am telling you the story, how we felt. Put yourself in our shoes, and I am understanding and compassionate towards those that need this service. But there is a place for it, and I don't feel like it should just be anywhere. Just like other things, there should be a spot for it to benefit everyone. So that's all that I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will link everything down in the description box. Until then.